Kyrie, you've said that you want to be in a place where you can maximize your potential. Why do you feel that Boston could be that place for you?
First and foremost, before we get into that question, before we dive into the importance of why we're all here, I just want to appreciate everyone up here on the stage and the opportunity that's in front of us to go after something that's bigger than ourselves. But before we get to that, I just wanted to say that sometimes we get lost into these two hoops in this basketball, that the most humane things that make us human, we lose track of sometimes. And I want to take a time out to wish my well energy and heartfelt to Jay Crowder and his mother, because that's a hard situation to go through, especially when it gets wrapped up in all this, as well as IT's sister, and as well as those affected in Charlottesville and those affected in Houston. That is all reality-based, and I live in that world. In this basketball, me perfecting my craft is very important to me, but outside of this game, I live a very much real life, and I appreciate all the people around me as well as all the human beings that I end up meeting. And I just wanted to come out and say that my appreciation for the world goes deeper than I think a lot of people realize. And I take my respects for all those people as well as everyone affected by anything. We're all here with you, and my prayers are with you. So now that I said that, now that I could officially move on to answering that, being a part of, or getting the opportunity to be a part of such a illustrious organization such as the Boston Celtics, man, I grew up watching so many different films, and I asked Danny when we were at dinner if I could get a few of his VHS tapes from those championship runs that they had.
Stone tablets.
All those, and when you have the unique opportunity of having special people and being a part of an organization like this, and they do everything possible in order to put themselves out there to make such a great thing happen, you're just appreciative, and I'm grateful, and I can't wait to get on the floor and to maximize my potential. I just want to be around those incredible coaches and those incredible minds and incredible individuals, and I felt like in doing that, Boston came right at the exact time, and it was meant to be that way. So I trust in that, and I'm glad to be here.
Kyle Hightower of the Associated Press. In your thank you note to Cleveland on Instagram, you referenced arriving there as a 19-year-old kid and taking the next step now in your journey as a 25-year-old man. I'm curious what you think the next step in your evolution is and why you think it took switching locations to continue it.
Well, when you get drafted into this great league, some of us come in at different ages, and as a 19-year-old kid, if you think about it, I'm starting my first year of college or finishing my first year of college, my freshman year, and life hits. Man, you go to different hotels, you're in different places, in different cities, and you have to adjust to what's going on. And it took me a little while to do that. On the court was incredible, but then you start figuring out what is important to you off the floor and how it's conducive for your development on the floor. Then you start finding that importance, and then it all starts making sense. It took a few things for me to go through in Cleveland for me to understand that, of learning the hard way. But we're all human beings, and I think that we've all been through a few hard times to where it's changed the landscape of what you think and what you feel. So it was my time to do what was best for me in terms of my intentions, and that's going after something bigger than myself, and honestly being in an environment that's conducive for my potential. And I think that statement is just self-explanatory because it's pretty direct in terms of what my intent is, and it's to be happy and be with a group of individuals that I can grow with. And that is not a knock on anything that has transpired in my 6 years, because it was an unbelievable experience, man. To think about what we accomplished in Cleveland and then individually as well, it bypasses the amount of moments that I had with all the special people out there. So that me leaving there wasn't about basketball, it was more or less about creating that foundation of me in Cleveland, and then now taking this next step as a 25-year-old evolving man and being the best basketball player I can be.
Emotionally for you, what has the last week been like? The roller coaster, it's had to have been some sort of roller coaster as the two teams tried to work things out.
Well, throughout this time, I've been very patient in the approach. I knew what the intent was when I asked for the trade initially, and it just was left at that, just patiently waiting. So it was. honestly the most human thing I could have done, which is ride the roller coaster wave of emotions. But the important thing was, at the time, was honestly coming off of the finals loss and kind of not wallowing in my sorrows, but trying to figure out the next step in order to achieving that goal. And in doing that, made it just a very courageous decision in order to take myself and my intent and want to be a part of something bigger than myself. And when Boston came a knocking, I was answering. So it was pretty awesome about the way it all transpired. Because throughout this time, I didn't say anything, not a word. And it was just assumptions and who said, and this camp and this source. And I don't want to dive into that, but I didn't say anything purposely because that's not the real life I live in terms of what you want, what this guy wants, and this person saying this one, and what you can and can't do. I have a daughter and I have a family that I love dearly. And once I knew that the team was going to make a move, I was just patiently waiting. And that's been the approach the whole entire time. So,
Kyrie, to your left, about 4 rows back here on the end. A lot of teams to beat in the East, but it's pretty clear. My name's Tom Lydon, Boston 25 News, by the way. A lot of teams to beat in the East, but it's pretty clear the team to beat the last 3 years has been Cleveland. I'm sure you've put some thought, now that you're on the other side, about what the key is to beating a team like that has the track record it has of getting to the finals 3 years in a row.
From a strategic standpoint, I think that Coach Stevens can answer that better. And from the other standpoint of what reality is, we haven't met or sat down with everyone as a collective and gone over the important things and important steps that it takes in order to build into something special. So until we get to that point, I think I will have a better answer for you. But as of now, I'm just happy to finally get my jersey on the stage, as well as with Gordon and as well as the rest of my teammates, and meeting them over the next few days. So,
Kyrie, Tom Westerholm with Mass Live. From what you've seen as an opponent, what are you looking forward to about playing in Coach Stevens' system?
by the way, big fan of Mass Live, bro. Got some good highlight tapes. No, I had one from the 2010 Spalding Hoop Hall Classic.
Happy to help.
Yeah. To be honest, I've only had the unique opportunity of playing against Coach Stevens over the last few years. So,
I coached you in a game where we gave up 197 points.
You know, that goes back to just playing both ends of the floor, Coach. Now that I get to experience it firsthand, it's just of how intelligent I've heard that he is as a coach, and as well as his coaching staff, and to understand how maniacal he is in terms of the finite details of maximizing what you can out of the players that you have on the floor. And looking at it and scheme-wise, it's a pretty equatable offense in terms of what everyone's skill set is out there on the floor. And I picked that out in about 2 minutes that we were out in the game by the way they were running their plays. There's always 2 or 3 steps, or let me give them credit, 4 steps ahead, because it's a constant wave in the game. In a change, it could go up and it can go down. And to understand those frequencies and to understand how you still exist and all that and get the maximum potential out of who you have on the floor, I mean, that's Coach Stevens. And that's just from an observer standpoint. So the appreciation I have for his knowledge of the game, I just can't wait to steal some stuff and honestly learn and grow with a guy like that, as well as the other coaches that he has that I can't wait to meet. So this is an exciting time to have an outstanding coach like that.